He laughed when he handed me divorce papers. That laugh still rings in my ears, confident, cruel, certain. "Sign them, Elena," Jonathan sneered, tossing the envelope across the mahogany table. "Let's end this charade." But when the judge opened my envelope, the one I brought sealed in silence, the color drained from his face. His arrogance cracked like glass under a hammer. This is the story of how a man who tried to strip me of everything, my home, my inheritance, my dignity, lost everything instead. And how I discovered that sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't revenge at all, it's truth. My name is Elena Rodriguez, and 3 years ago, I thought I had it all. Jonathan Blake was the kind of man fairy tales promised. Tall, impeccably dressed, with the kind of confidence that made entire rooms pivot when he walked in. A corporate lawyer with old money connections, the perfect smile, and the kind of wealth that erased boundaries. He swept me into a world I'd only ever seen in magazines. Champagne weekends in Napa, spontaneous trips to Europe, penthouse dinners with city views. When he proposed on a candlelit balcony in Santorini, the diamond glinting like a small sun against the night sky, I said yes without a second thought. I thought I'd found forever. But here's the thing about forever. Sometimes it's just a cage you don't realize is closing until the lock clicks. I grew up far from this world of tailored suits and glass towers. My mother, Maria Rodriguez, raised me in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment above a bakery, working double shifts as a hotel housekeeper. Her hands always smelt faintly of lemon cleaner, and her back was perpetually bent from years of scrubbing floors. But her eyes, those warm brown eyes, held the kind of pride no poverty could dim. "Elena," she'd tell me at our tiny kitchen table, "there will always be people who think they're better than you because of what you don't have. But don't you ever let anyone make you feel small. You have something they can't buy, worth." I carried her words like a shield until I lost her. She died suddenly from a stroke when I was 27. I buried her alone, clutching the deed to a small patch of land she'd left me, our family's only legacy. After that, I poured myself into my work as a social worker. I fought for families like ours, for mothers who slept in cars and children clinging to hope. But I was lonely. And then came Jonathan. He spotted me at a charity fundraiser I'd been invited to by a colleague. I remember standing awkwardly by the buffet, feeling out of place among the designer dresses and silk ties when he approached me. "You're not like anyone else here. You have this light." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe someone could see me. That's how predators choose their prey. They find the lonely ones and call them special. The cracks started small. They always do. At first, Jonathan teased my job. "It's sweet that you want to save families, darling," he'd say with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "But really, let me take care of the real work." I laughed it off. Everyone teased sometimes, right? But then came the dinner parties with his colleagues. "Elena just helps troubled families," he'd say with a dismissive wave, as if my work, my purpose, was a hobby to be indulged. That one word, just, cut deeper than any outright insult. When I told him I was considering a master's degree, his response was instant. "Why waste energy? I can provide everything we need." Control disguised as care. And I, desperate to keep the man I thought I loved, mistook one for the other. Every time I swallowed my discomfort, the walls closed tighter. After the wedding, the mask slipped further. The affection dried up. No more morning kisses. No more surprise flowers. His client emergencies became nightly routines. His phone never left his hand, but always left the room with him. When I asked, he'd press a perfunctory kiss to my forehead and say, "Don't worry yourself, sweetheart. focused on your little families, my little families, as if the people I fought for, those clawing their way out of poverty and pain, were beneath his notice. One night, after yet another of his firm's parties, I stood in the kitchen cleaning glasses when I overheard a colleague whisper, "She's lucky. Most guys in Jonathan's position don't bother with women like her." I laughed softly to myself because if I didn't laugh, I'd break. The breaking point came on a warm April night. I just left a board meeting at the community center. We'd secured funding for a new youth program I'd fought months for. I was buzzing with pride, eager to tell Jonathan, still clinging to hope that maybe he'd be proud of me too. I walked into the house and heard voices from his study. The door was ajar. "Believe me, Richard, she's completely oblivious. So trusting, it's almost pathetic." My stomach turned. "I've got the prenup locked tight. When this ends, she'll walk away with nothing. Even that property her mother left her, I had her sign it as collateral. She has no idea. 3 years of pretending to love someone so dull, worth every tedious moment." Laughter followed. I stumbled back, pressing a fist to my mouth to keep from screaming. I crept upstairs, shut the bedroom door, and sat in darkness until dawn, my heart hollow and pounding. That night, I realized I hadn't married a man. I'd married a predator. The next morning, I didn't go to work. For the first time in years, I called in sick. Not because I was ill, but because I was done pretending. I spent hours tearing through our files, opening drawers I'd never dared to touch, logging into accounts I'd never questioned. The truth bled from every page. The house in his name, bank accounts he controlled, legal documents I'd signed without reading because I trusted him. My mother's land, our legacy, listed as collateral on a loan I never knew existed. I wanted to scream, to burn it all down. Instead, I decided to fight. I found Catherine Morris after 3 hours of searching online for divorce attorneys who don't lose. She had a reputation for dismantling powerful men in court. Her office was modest, tucked between a bakery and a law library, but when she entered the room, she carried herself like a general walking into battle. She let me talk. Every detail poured out of me. The charm, the insults, the party whispers, the betrayal. I expected pity. What I got was focus. When she finished, she leaned forward, eyes sharp as glass. "Elena, you're in a fight, but you are not powerless. Tell me about your mother's property." "It's worthless," I muttered bitterly. "Jonathan said so." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Never take a liar's word at face value. Give me the details." 3 weeks later, she called me. "Elena, sit down," she said. "Your mother's land sits on a mineral deposit. It's worth at least $15 million. And there's an investment account over $3 million she left for you. She plans for this." I dropped the phone and wept. Not from sorrow. This was gratitude. My mother had been gone for years, yet she was still protecting me. We prepared for months. Catherine drilled me like a soldier, how to hold myself under pressure, how to answer without fear, how to, like Jonathan's arrogance, destroy him. The day of the final hearing, Jonathan arrived like royalty. Navy suit, gold watch, a swarm of lawyers. He didn't even look at me. Inside the courtroom, the air was thick with quiet tension. Jonathan's attorney opened smoothly. "Your Honor, my client has been more than generous. He seeks an amicable resolution for a wife who brought little to this marriage." Jonathan nodded solemnly, playing the part of the noble husband wronged. Then Catherine stood, calm, precise, deadly. "Your Honor, We submit that Mr. Blake defrauded my client. The property he claims is worthless, appraised at $15 million. There's also a $3 million investment account in her name, hidden from her by Mr. Blake's deliberate misrepresentation. We also have this. She pressed play. Jonathan's voice filled the room, dripping with arrogance. 3 years of pretending to love someone so dull, worth every tedious moment. Gas rippled through the gallery. Jonathan's face drained of color. Objection, his lawyer shouted, but the judge overruled him with a raised hand. Mr. Blake, Judge Santos said, her voice like ice, is this your voice? Jonathan swallowed hard. I can explain. No need, she interrupted. The prenuptial agreement is hereby void. Mrs. Blake retains all inherited assets and is awarded half of all marital property. Mr. Blake will also pay her legal fees. Jonathan collapsed into his chair, stunned. For the first time in years, I was the one looking down on him. Outside the courthouse, Jonathan chased after me, his perfect image finally cracked. Elena, please, we can fix this. I turned to face him one last time. The only thing broken was my belief in you, I said, voice steady, and I'm done fixing what was never real. I walked away without looking back. That evening, Catherine handed me a letter attached to my mother's account. For my daughter, if you ever doubt yourself, remember this isn't just money. It's proof I believed in you. Always. I cried. Tears not of loss, but of strength. I wasn't Jonathan's victim anymore. I was Maria Rodriguez's legacy. And sometimes the sweetest justice isn't revenge. It's reclaiming your life and realizing you were always enough. If the story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because maybe there's another Elena out there, sitting in the dark, thinking she's powerless. She deserves to know the truth. No one can take your worth. You were born with it.